All right, perfect. We are on it. We're live, so let's see. We'll just wait till some people start joining because I'm going to do something really beautiful to introduce both of you, and it's going to tie it all in. So, hello, everybody. We're just giving a few moments for more people to join, and then I'm going to introduce two of the most incredible human beings, light beings, energy beings, super conscious human beings that I personally know so well. And they don't know each other that well, but this is going to be such a powerful, relevant talk to so many people out there because we know what people are going through, the amount of pain and suffering and fear and drama and everything that's happening. And we each bring something that is so unique yet synchronized for everybody who is out there going through whatever it is they're going through. So this is Veda Austin and Nina Starsong. They are both two like heartfelt, truly deeply personal friends of mine, and we've both gotten to know each other over such an amount of time where, see, none of us have ever put our integrity in front of we've always made sure that we are in the highest integrity with how we relate to each other, with how we relate to our work, with how we relate to the world, and we have never cut corners. We don't sacrifice. We make sure that we stay true to what we know our purpose is. And in many ways, I feel this is role modeling for the next phase in what we are facing as a species, because what's happened so far in the past couple of years is just the opening appetizer. It's just a little taste of what's to come. And what's to come, okay, when we move beyond the fear, when we move beyond the parts of ourselves that are like, oh my God, I can't believe everything's changing so much. We recognize that life itself, whether you believe in God or you're a devout atheist or you're somewhere in between, there is a force of energy in each one of us that is allowing us to exist. It is way more intelligent than we are from a human perspective, and it is shaking up the world to get our attention. And we are free to believe what we want, we're free to do whatever we want. But when we start to align our awareness with this miraculous force, this innate intelligence that is causing so many incomprehensible, miraculous reactions to take place in our bodies faster than the speed of light, and we start prioritizing that and giving attention to it, we find that we're able to overcome the intensity of the experiences that are being cast on us. So I'm just going to do something here. I'm just going to take a minute and I'm going to introduce these two. But what I want to do is, for everybody listening, is just take a minute or two and get you into a very simple, relaxed state of heart-brain coherence. So for everybody there who's on this call, who's listening, just shut your eyes for a second and start breathing rhythmically. Don't even think about it, just slow, rhythmic in and out breaths. And here's the big thing, is smile from your heart. Don't think about what it means. Just smile from your heart as you're breathing rhythmically. And as you're doing that, relax the muscles in your face just a little bit. Because when you relax the muscles in your face, it allows you to relax the muscles in your body. So as you're breathing rhythmically and slow, and you're in a state of calm, and you're smiling from your heart, and you're feeling relaxed, you can be a lot more receptive to the space that the three of us, that people, beings that truly have committed to not compromising our integrity for what our missions are, we're going to be able to hold space for all of you that inspires this same level of recognition within you. We're going to do it through conversation. We're going to do it through the way we communicate, the things we communicate. And then towards the end, if anybody wants to ask questions about anything, we're going to answer that. But just another minute or two, just keep breathing rhythmically. And realize that 99%, more than 99% of what is truly happening in the world, no matter what you believe, is happening inside of your body. It is the energy causing your heart to beat. It is the energy that comes before thoughts. It gives birth to thoughts. It is the energy that is causing your lungs to breathe. Whether you are conscious or not, your lungs are breathing. There is such a massive amount of reality happening inside of us that is the predominant force for each and every one of us. And the more we as individuals start giving attention to that, the more it is going to empower us to move beyond the fears, the things, the situations, the people that trigger us and take us out of a state of being where we are connected to the source of energy that's allowing us to exist in these bodies and perceive reality through our human faculties. The more we prioritize this connection from a place of calm and trust, the more it empowers us to be the forces of nature that we all truly are. And oh my God, oh my goddess, this is how we're going to change the world. One of the most important ways ever in my experience. So with that, these two beings in front of me, this is Veda Austin. A lot of people in the water group know Veda because of her profound work with water crystallography and just her ability to communicate with water in a way that she has self-admittedly told us that it is by doing this practice of water crystallography that has kept her integrity in check. It's like the water responds to her when she is standing in her power and clear and just so connected with it. And that is a profound lesson for each of us. Nina Starsong. See, like as Veda represents the water element, Nina represents the spirit, the invisible, unseen energy that is spiritual. It is the force. It's the ether, you could say. And Nina, same thing. I have watched her time and time again watch all the distractions and influences of the world that most of us get swept away in. Maybe not in a like, oh, I'm going to do bad and be a bad person, but even as simple as like trying to tempt our creature comforts or trying to test our integrity in the way we give in to our primal desires. I've watched both of these women stand so firmly in their integrity with the spirit of energy that animates them because they just know it's being called from them. And I'm so honored to know both of you, to call both of you my friends, to know that you're both pretty much always there. And there's an unspoken agreement between all three of us where we're not playing codependent games. We're not here to like, oh, go into these old patterns and all this old stuff. And if it comes up a little bit, it's because we've silently agreed to mirror the parts of us that we as individuals have committed to facing ourselves because we know we're ready to overcome them for the greater good of our own evolutionary impulse and for that of the world. So, oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And if whoever wants to speak or share first, go for it. And I love this. I feel so glad to be with you.
Thank you, Seth. That's such a beautiful way to introduce us both, and so nice to meet you kind of properly, Nina.
What better way than publicly on air, right? Just
Yeah.
but you know what? Let's start with this. Veda, you said something to me, I don't know, it was like last week or something, but you were talking about your relationship to water, how that has essentially improved your ability to be able to relate to yourself and others. I can't remember exactly what you were saying, but I think that's going to inspire Nina because she has similar connections to her own sources of energy that inspire her and heal her. So, do you remember what I was
Sure.
talking about? Or
I yeah, I kind of have a good idea of what we talked about, but I kind of like to think of it as weaving with water because it kind of weaves in all these different ways. Water has all these different stages, and so when I think about that, that's where the interweave within the air, within the ethers, also comes in. So one of the things we had talked about, Seth, was that whenever I do this work with water, one of the things, and I've been doing it for over 8 years, and for anyone that doesn't know, essentially, I am having a kind of co-creation with water whereby I will influence. I like the word inspire more, so I say I'll inspire water in some way using like a photograph or a word or music or a picture, and or it really there's no end to what influences or inspirations I can use. And then I'll put my petri dish perhaps on top of a photo for 30 seconds and I'll freeze it. And so I have a technique, this short-term crystallography. And what I keep seeing is that the water, as it begins to freeze, can use its building blocks of ice to design this incredible liquid crystal architecture relative to its influence. So if I think of a hand, for example, then I might see a hand in the ice, or there's anyone that's seen my work would have seen the examples. But this incredible kind of co-creation simply cannot happen and will not happen if I'm in a state of feeling frustrated. It's very rare that I'd feel angry and go ahead and think, bugger, I'm going to go and do an ice test now. It's unlikely that I would do that. But we all have days where things can sometimes feel frustrating, and water simply won't play with me in that state of being. And so every single time I'm observing that. So what I see with water as being like a force of energy, it is this life force energy in many ways. That's how I see it. And it really won't play in a lower energetic vibration. And so I say that word play because that's kind of the energy I want to stay in when I'm working with water, in a playful, open, loving, or it doesn't even, I don't even have to be in my most highest, happiest space, because water is so compassionate that it will happily work with me if I'm feeling sad for something. If there's something heavy on my heart, I will still get imagery in some way that will usually cheer me up, actually, or inspire me. And so there's this wonderful compassion towards feeling, the feeling of like feeling sad, for example. But frustration is kind of an area where water, and anger too, whereas you can remember what it feels like to be angry in those times. And for me, I feel anger like this kind of hot energy that comes up through the back of my spine, and it makes my body feel hot. And it's so rare that I feel it very clearly and I remember it very well. So when I have projected a feeling or a memory of anger, more like, into water, it's interesting because the water will kind of thicken. And so what I normally see is this very thin layer of ice, and it's very clear and see-through, and all the colors come through and you see this beautiful imagery. But with certain things like anger, or with really intense electromagnetic fields, for example, like microwave ovens or 5G or 4G or these kinds of things. It seems to thicken the ice so that there is this, it's a very strange phenomena that I've observed. And so water is like, I always think of water as my spiritual teacher. And so being very honest and transparent with yourself, that is one of the things that water was always teaching me, is that water is transparent. It seems so clear, yet it reflects all color, and even the colors that we don't see. Water is absorbing, and so water also absorbs. It's the ultimate solvent. So it's always trying to absorb everything. And at the same time, it has its own energetic blueprint so that it is, in fact, an energy. And I think of it as awareness. And so it's sort of this omnipresent, sensory, energetic. And also it absorbs things. So it holds and stores these minerals and all this information that within it, but it's also separate to that awareness. So when I think of it very simply, I think essentially we're water, salts, and minerals and consciousness within this human vessel that we are. And when I think of water itself, I think of it as awareness. And then when I think of this beautiful marriage between salt and water, that's the part where the salts, because if you think of it, salt is a crystal, and crystals store vast amounts of information. There and all our technology to store and hold information. And I personally believe, it's just my personal thought, is that the salt within us is what holds the cellular memory as well. And so I actually think that this marriage of salt and water, it's so beautiful because one is the observer and one is storing and holding these memories. And within all of the things that I've observed with water, and I keep learning, and I feel like I'm just beginning so many times in this vast kind of array of getting to understand and getting a relationship with water, because water is in so many different phases. It does relate to human relationships so much because we're all bodies of water searching for this beautiful mirror of our beloved in the eyes of someone else, because our lens is 99% water. When everything that we are seeing through, everything we see in this world, we're seeing through this beautiful liquid lens. And so the more we feel that sacred honoring, I think, of the way in which water is such a huge part of not just our lives, of our sustenance, but of actually who we are within this beautiful energetic body, both within it and outside of it, because it's the fluid water that moves through us, with just like tributaries moving through towards the ocean. And also then through the air, there's all of this, there's so much water in the air, and it's part of the way in which we feel energy, because it extends out of our body through the electrical charge, and it's attracted to that charge. And so there is this kind of, if we could see it, we would see it a little bit like a spider web coming out of us, that captures all these dewdrops, except on a very, very, very tiny scale. So I think that for me anyway, water has been one of my greatest teachers. And I've had the privilege of going to India many times. I've had an incredible spiritual teacher, but I've come to realize that everyone we meet, everyone, whoever it is, whether it's a child or some person we wave at in the street or whoever, everyone is our spiritual teacher for the day, because they're there to teach us something. And so I'm very grateful for both of you, to be both of you my spiritual teachers for today with this fun little video we're doing.
Nina, what do you think of that?
Wow. That's so amazing, Veda. I mean, I have to go back and remember everything that you just shared, because it was a lot. And there were so many comments I wanted to make as you were speaking. And then you went to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I have to try to go back all the way to the top here. But I'm just going to do my best. But I've always had a love affair with water. And you were talking about how the water holds all the colors. And it's not really clear. It holds all the colors like a crystal. It reflects all the different, what I feel to be the colors of the octave scale of light, interdimensional frequencies, chakra, rainbow rays, the Christed ray, the cellular DNA that is in our own being. And I've had some really amazing experiences with singing in light language and speaking in light language to the water. And it will actually beckon me out to the ocean, which is why I'm not allowed to live away from it anymore. And I've even to the bathtub, but it will call me. And then when I go into that space with it and I'm playing with it, and there have been times too when, gosh, I may have been experiencing heartbreak, and just by singing and speaking and letting it out, it was like nurturing me. And then I would begin to see these rainbows as I was playing with the water droplets, and suddenly it is just a pool of rainbows. And as you're dancing with it and playing with it, it's actually activating and amplifying the entire field. I've had these amazing experiences on the beach where when I'm doing that on the beach, a bit removed from people because, well, these days I don't care what they think, but I've had some funny experiences. What I've noticed is that the children will start being attracted to the area where I am, and also the entire frequency, the entire emotional kind of blueprint that was existent on the beach prior to that will just calm down. And it's the water for me is very, very connected to the galactics and to the Pleiadians and to anchoring and bringing forth the Christed grid through us, through this space, allowing us to become amplifiers of it. And as you were speaking, I was going, well, of course, because we are the water. And I love how you have the grounded science behind some visions and dreams I've been given. But one of the dreams I was given when I was a little girl, and it was so gorgeous and precious, and it's foreshadowing. The entire collective was swimming together underwater, and we suddenly swam out of our skin and we swam into light.
Ooh, we lost
Did we
Veda.
We
Sorry,
lost Veda.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, you're still there. We can hear you.
Yeah, someone's trying to call me. Go away. Sorry. I don't know how to get rid of it without cutting you off.
Here, let the call go. Just let the call go through, and hopefully it didn't. There you are.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
They just wanted some of the yumminess. They could feel it.
Help.
That happens to me all the time when I'm with clients. So I saw us all swimming out of our skin. There was nothing, it was so beautiful. It was just that we were swimming out of our skin, returning to the water, and we were light within the water. So there's so much that you shared that is just, as you were speaking, activating my own remembrances and understandings. And I also feel like it's so beautiful how we can have this incredible love affair with water. If I don't drink enough water during the day, my water calls me. Hello, you need to drink some more of me. And then also the whole understanding of how if we can imprint water outside of us. We are consistently, whether we realize that or not, doing that 24/7 a day based on what we're thinking about and what we are feeling. And that is what the whole 5D Ascension understanding is about. And so water is such an amazing teacher as the physical outer manifestation of just our own inner liquid rainbow world of DNA crystallized in form. Awakening and coming alive as we become conscious creators and we become disciplined within our mind and our thoughts and our vibrations, so we're no longer being codependent upon the outer world or the energies around us. We are sovereign, and water is an amazing teacher of that. It's taught me so much. And as I am being reflected as well right now to, even in scripture, how holy water is, that we are to be born, we're to be baptized in the water and in the spirit. And the understanding, my understanding of that is that the water, as we are babies, this baptism, which does not need to happen in a church. I'm not saying that. It could happen down by the ocean, could happen in your bathtub, but it's like an anointing of, I am one with water, because I feel like the water holds so much of the Christ consciousness. And then the spirit, being the air, is being born through the spirit into the light. And I feel like as I'm speaking this right now, I'm connecting that dream that I had where we're coming out of our flesh into the light. And it's all, the entire thing is that we're in the water. So thank you for all that you've shared. And it's so, I can't thank you enough, because it's so connected to my journey as well. And I'm sure it's just so many people's journeys, and it's just, it's highly activating. Thank you, Veda.
Oh, you're such a sweetheart. And, oh, you're very welcome. I'm very grateful to you too. And one of the things I really love is actually, I love the science world. I love to play in that world. But I also, I'm an artist, essentially. You know, I worked professionally as an artist for many years, and I'm a conscious being and a spiritual being. And I am so fascinated with the natural spiritual worlds. And so what I love is that there is this beautiful interweave between them all. And a very good friend of mine, Michael, actually wrote something really profound to me, and it meant a lot to me when he was writing about my book, The Secret Intelligence of Water. And he said, when the world right now kind of seems so crazy, the artist comes to bring hope. And I think that is also something which is very beautiful, because really some of the greatest artists have been they have had a scientific mind. You know, Da Vinci and like Michelangelo, incredible people. But that also includes sound, because sound is such a huge part. I mean, that's the way in which we so some of our communication is through that sound. And like music is so healing. So if we can't speak, we can hear. And if we can't hear, we can't speak, and we can't see, we can still feel. And that's the thing. It's like, we are such sensory beings. And I really feel that the water, I mean, essentially, I say this a gazillion times, but if there are more water molecules in our body than there are stars in the Milky Way. So when you look up and you see all of this abundance, you can imagine that is mirrored within us. And because there are so many trillions of water cells and like molecules in our body, I always think about love as a reflection in a room full of a trillion mirrors. And that essentially really is like a reflections of all of the parts of ourselves that are so fluid and so incredible, have this capacity to hold and store and be love, whatever that means to you, which is essentially such a beautiful high vibrational state. And so and then I think about how water, or at least 70%, they say, of course, there's primary water that's within the Earth's mantle, but a great deal of water came from outer space on asteroids, making it this incredibly, alien substance. And so, of which we're made up by molecular count 99% of, we can't live without, and yet we hardly know anything about it because it defies the laws of physics and gravity. We don't even know that's the crazy thing about this beautiful water that we drink. One glass of water it's been through the trees and the harakiki here, which is the flax, and it's been through the cows, and it's been through all the ecosystems. It's been through dinosaurs. It's been through, and it's come from outer space. And now we're drink it, and it's about to enter. And then that's none of that is far out, because this is what also science tells us. And so it's like, but then bringing that together, the science world with this artistic expression of the way in which water creates form and shape every time it enters something. When you think about plums and prunes, or aging for that matter, it is water is creating form and shape and changing as it changes or as it exits or enters. And think about a pregnant woman, how her body also grows as the baby grows within her, as the water within that the baby is also growing because of the water. And then she's growing because of the water within the baby. And so there is this incredible, beautiful kind of way in which water flows through humans, through the plants and the creatures in the world. But then only to imagine what it is in different life forms outside of this planet, because we know so little, not only about what's up there, but also what's down at the very bottom of the oceans. There's so much more to explore. And at the same time, we never ever think, like I was thinking about this just the other day, we don't ever think, like when we go to the bathroom, we urinate and the water within us is leaving. But at the same, we're quite happy for it to go. There's this part of us that needs to release, but we're always putting more water into us. So we are this system as well of water coming in and water going out. And then that released water is going back through, eventually get to the ocean and be evaporated again. And it's going through. So then when you're drinking, when you think about everything, like in this way, we are so interconnected. Part of the water that we're drinking could have gone through our ancestors. It could be coming from anywhere. And that's what I love, is there is so much held within the vibration of water that we tend to think that we must inform this water and we must structure this water. But water moves, it updates its information every trillionth of a second. And so when we think about this, water is constantly moving. And so, but then also, what kind of environment do you want for that water to enter? Because it's entering the ocean of your world. And so I often think, when I drink water, it's not so much for me to alter it as for me to actually be prepared to let it enter me. And what environment would I like for it to meet? Because ultimately, that's what's happening.
Receptive environment, right? Like very open, receptive, open to possibility type of way. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, well, also who am I? What am I thinking? You know, what was the last word I said before I'm about to drink this water? That'll be the first vibration it will feel in my mouth. You know, I tend to think about water in a way where, you know, just by drinking it, you are actually inviting something to enter inside of this liquid world of this body. So I don't see water in the way a lot of people do. I know, I know that, but but you know, because so much of me sees water everywhere. I don't tend to, like, we always look in the mirror and we see this solid body, but we're looking at ourselves just through these fourth phase water eyes. And if our skin was invisible, we would not see ourselves the way we do. If every living system's essential skin, whatever that might look like, was see-through, we would see this liquid system everywhere, and we would see ourselves in it, the world and nature, so differently. And so as I've been working and with water, I tend to do that automatically, as I tend to see through the skin, and I imagine that person or that tree or that blade of grass or that flower or the water within the glass, that itself has an energetic movement, a sound, a look, a feel. It has something to share with us, you know, and just as we have so much to share as well. And I think that it's just so important to honor this body of water that we are and that others are, because really that's also what leaves upon death. Eventually, water evaporates and the salts go back to the earth. And so, water is our constant companion from the moment we're conceived, right through our lives, all the way until it evaporates up out of us, explaining that kind of feeling of rising. And it's, you know, there's so much to kind of go into that, but I could
Oh,
talk for
that's
like,
all right.
but
That's amazing. Let's do this for a second. Let's shift gears a little bit. I'm going to present something different, and then let's see how you both feel about it. So, regardless of who we think we are or what we think the external circumstances of the human civilized world are, that nearly almost everybody is almost has entirely invested their perception of reality in the external world. We're giving that so much more importance than the internal world. Why would we give the internal world importance? Well, again, as I said earlier, whether you know that God is a living being, a living consciousness, however, and it is animating your being, and, or you don't, you're an atheist, you don't believe. Ooh, we lost Nina.
kind of pushed the wrong button.
You did?
No, I didn't do anything. No, I think she might have accidentally pushed end. I'm sure she'll come back.
Let me see where.
I'm like on this hill because I'm at where I'm living right now. The reception's so bad, so I like have to drive up onto the hill just to be able to sit in the car so I can do this.
All right, it's calling her right now. Thank you, everybody who is here with us, for watching this and bearing with it through our technical stuff. Oh, there's dear Laura Eisenhower. She's like, come on, just come on our channel and do it. I want to, but we're already logged in here doing this, and we're getting a flow going.
We need Nina.
I know. Where is Nina? Okay, wait. She's
There,
joining. Here she is.
yeah.
So it turned off. Oh, hello.
Yes.
Okay. Just turn your video on, hon.
Yeah. So the issue is that it's on my phone again.
You're there. We see you. Can you see us,
Okay.
though?
Yeah. Okay. On a second. I don't know. Okay. All right.
It's good enough. Are you able to see us, or?
Yep, I think we're good.
All right. All right.
You can see me then.
Yeah, I see you perfect. You're
Oh,
almost centered. Kind of right there. Yeah, right there, you're totally centered.
perfect.
You can handle it. Okay. All right. So, in light of everything that we were sharing, I'm going to propose a very base idea as to not exclude different belief systems, different perceptions, different ideas, and instead give everybody kind of a baseline to focus on the similarities that we truly all share, and then build a new model of understanding together as this group that will give us the opportunity to step more fully into the integrity that we all know is there, that we all know that we've got to take responsibility for if we want to improve the circumstances of our own life and then positively effectuate everything we witness happening in the world around us. So, what is that baseline? Again, whether you believe God to be a certain way or you don't at all, we can all agree that there is some bioelectric force that is causing each and every one of our hearts to beat. It's causing our lungs to breathe, whether we're conscious or not, causing all these unbelievable physiological reactions to take place in our autonomic nervous system faster than the speed of light. That's a lot of information. And when I consider that in me, and I realize how, wow, okay, probably 99% of what is truly going on is happening inside of me. And I'm very unaware as of to the workings of most of that. You know, there's a very little sliver of me that intuitively senses that's all going on and knows it's there, but consciously I'm focused on all these external things and I keep giving this attention to all these things, recreating these feedback loops of like, okay, I'm looking at something, I'm processing it through the filters that I have had conditioned into me by growing up in this world. And then I think I know something because I've been conditioned to think about it in a certain way. Then I take that and I project it out into the world. Oh, that's that. And this is what it means. And then the world is going to show me something that is in resonant with that, because whether we are choosing to be in an elevated, loving state, or essentially, if we're choosing to recognize that whatever this field is sacred or not, that's a choice. But the reality is this: if no matter what choice we make, there is a field of energy that is causing the heart to beat. It's in us, and it is both coming in and it's going out. So if we're negative, if we're afraid, if we're judgmental, if we're doing that, this field that it's truly here, that's allowing us to perceive through our human senses, when we're in a negative, angry, upset, or shameful, or judgmental, or whatever state, we're projecting that out through the field that is causing us to be right here. So the more we start to realize that, and then we realize that, wow, that's quite an interesting responsibility to have, because if I'm angry and mad and I'm blaming somebody and I'm a victim and I'm doing all this stuff, then that means I'm imprinting all the water systems of my body with that belief. And just from a common sense perspective, in my own life, because I've done that plenty, as both of you know, I've beat myself up, I put myself through it, I've been the victim, I've been all that stuff. And I really went into the heart of my own personal darkness because I wanted to see if there was anything there, as crazy as it sounds. I wanted to see if there was something there that could help me understand why I was suffering and guide me out of it. And sure enough, there was. And essentially, it was the choice to see that whatever this field is something sacred. It is something profound. It is so deep, it is beyond my human comprehension, and it caused the part of me that was negative or stuck or whatever to surrender to the part of me that knew it was so much greater than that level of fear and suffering that I was embracing at that moment in my life. And as a result of doing that, I started sending out new information to this field that was always there, regardless of who I think I am or what problem I had. And when I began sending out new information of trusting this, recognizing that it's sacred, then the external reflection of the world around me began showing me something very different than when I was in that victim fear based state. And I could feel my health and my wellness and just all these problems that I had starting to go away. And I started getting excited and I wanted to create and I wanted to find other initiatory souls who have been through it and back, because I know if they're still alive, there's a reason for it. It means that they've come to something in them where they've been able to surrender the part of themselves that is addicted to the suffering of the world and surrendered that to something that is liberating them from it and freeing them from it. And both of you represent that to me in my life. So I know I didn't like really propose anything and I just said a lot of stuff, but what do you guys think of that? How do you feel about that?
Well, you represent that to me, Seth. And Veda, you represent that to me too. I'm just getting to know you and meet you. But Seth, we have gone deep, and I know a lot of your story, and you know a lot of mine, and the initiations we've walked through and the fires we've walked through. And so I will just speak to what's happening currently with the current Ascension timeline. And my most recent, I guess you could say, fun discovery has been the understanding that what if consciousness is constantly wearing very different masks, and that your entire path and everything you've experienced and been through, you actually scripted? Why would you do that? Why would you go to jail, right, Seth?
Yeah.
Why would I have chosen to go through the sexual abuse I went through and the traumas I've been through? Why? Well, perhaps because you came to learn unconditional love. Perhaps because you wanted to learn that no matter how much a reflection on the outside has hurt you, that you could return to this place of forgiveness. But ultimately, who do you have to forgive the most? Yourself. But then beyond even the forgiveness, what if it's all perfect? What if it's all meant to be? And if every single reflection of pain and ultimately separation was just consciousness wearing a mask so that you would push through that and continue on your path as you grow, as you ascend, almost like truly every single experience and every single reflection is your greatest teacher. And as I sat in this moment, I started laughing, and I was thinking of the laughing Buddha, because all of a sudden I was laughing, going, it's all consciousness winking at you behind every mask. And you set up the entire thing because your soul wanted to go through it, because you wanted to learn. And we set ourselves up for some tremendous lessons in this lifetime. Tremendous. If we were looking at this like a Nintendo game, this is the highest form of the Nintendo game we've ever set ourselves up for. And I don't believe that we're going to have to repeat this this game. This is what the Ascension is, which is why we are essentially going through almost, it's like every single lifetime in one lifetime. We just basically went from the bottom to the top. And as a singer, and I love quantum physics, and I study the quantum physics and understand quantum frequency devices, and I love all that. I see it as walking up the scale of octaves of consciousness, and each new level is a color, is a frequency, is a vibration. So we really have an option, no matter what's happening outside of us. We always have an option to choose which octave or which station we're tuning into with our antenna, and everybody's constantly doing it. So when people go, "Oh, I can't do that," well, you're already doing it. I love it when people say to me, "Well, the law of attraction, I don't know about that." And I'm like, really? Because it's actually working for you right now. You just have an abundance of a lack of abundance. If you were to tune into an abundance of abundance, you just change the channel. Lack is just one side of the spectrum. It's, much farther down on that scale. And so we really have the choice to inherit the kingdom of the consciousness of what I would call to be like a hell state, a separation state, or the consciousness of heaven, which is a state of oneness and ultimately love. And isn't it amazing that you can look at all of it and go through every single experience you've had up until now and reflect on it, if you're able to see it without attaching to the story, and realize that it all brought you to this moment. And every single...
Don't mind me. There's a car coming and I have to get out of the way. So you keep talking.
Keep going,
I love
Nina.
It. It's perfect.
It's all perfect. Is perfect. It's perfect.
It's all perfect. She's having an experience right now.
Exactly. We're all part of it to a degree.
We are.
You know what?
Great.
It's literally so. How about this, Nina? What would you say, taking what you just said, how would you relate that to what the masses are experiencing right now with the world? Because I know...
I'm doing this podcast because there's no, you guys can say hi. Look at these lovely people.
And they're in New Zealand. This is all in New Zealand, too.
Yeah.
This is great.
No reception from the house, so I have to sit on top of the hill and do this.
It's all perfect, right? Everything is perfect.
It's okay.
I feel like I'm on safari with Veda right now. This is so cool.
I'm just gonna drive down a little bit.
They actually asked you to leave?
This is perfectly manicured lawns. I don't even know where to go over. Okay, I'm out of his way. If he turns around, he's moving the cows.
A cow?
There's all these
cows. See?
There's all these cows and sheep are being grazed. Oh yeah, you guys, I feel so sorry for your cows and stuff. But all our cows are always outside, eating the grass. But anyway, he's gone to move.
That's New Zealand. New Zealand is they say there's more sheep than humans, right? Is that true? I've heard that.
Yeah, there's more sheep and cows than people.
Mm.
Yeah, there's 5 sheep to every person or something.
And the birds rule New Zealand, right? Because I know there's more predators introduced now, but for a long time there wasn't really any predators and the birds thrived.
Yeah, there's, I mean, we're doing a lot to help protect the native environment. The people that own the property are just up there actually try doing everything now to make it predator free so they can introduce kiwi birds to
Oh,
the area, which is it's so funny. Lots of people don't even know they think a kiwi still is just like the kiwi fruit, but like in New Zealand there's the kiwi bird, and it's like this
they're
kind of
the best.
big
They're like these little
white bird.
tiny parrots, right? That don't fly. They're like ground parrots.
Well, a kiwi just isn't really a parrot. It's got like this. This is really not a topic about water anymore, but
So what?
No,
it's
this
got
is Safari with Veda.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
a
great.
part of it.
it's got this long, long, long beak, like about so long, and it just and it's got these long, like kind of really like dinosaur type of feet, and it doesn't fly, and so yeah, but I think the ones you're thinking of are kakapo, and they're super cute. And there's this hilarious video of this. I think he's a comedian or something, and he went on a type of safari. They came to New Zealand, and this kakapo fell in love with him, and was oh anyway, you'll have to know, and was doing some serious mating activity near as close to his head as possible. It was really crazy,
Oh my god.
and it
It
was
liked
really fun.
it liked his water for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he had obviously had it going on.
Mm.
So,
Oh my god. I just
anyway,
looked at a picture of a kiwi. I'm trying to put it on here, but it's not going.
yeah,
Anyway, it's not what I thought. You're right. It's a different.
yeah, you have a kakapo, I think.
All right,
This is wonderful. I love it. This is amazing.
let's do this. I just had a really interesting idea, and let's see how this integrates. And I'll try to be short about it because I want to. So there's this idea, and Nina knows it very well. The idea of Christ consciousness. The way I interpret it is the crystallization of human consciousness, which is essentially we're moving beyond ego, moving beyond self according to the conditioned self that most people are trapped in and believe to be all there is. So, as we move beyond that, as we start to align our senses with the field of energy that is animating us, and we start to become aware of how this animating field, when we focus on specific glands of our body, it causes those glands to activate because you can feel your pulse in the gland. And when you consciously focus on it from a calm place, that gland starts to wake up. And then the more you do that, the more you create that coherence throughout the field of your body, then your body is no longer drawing from a vital field of information that's mostly just coming from the heart, because each one of these glands are connected to the greater fields of the physical and non-physical universe. So, like on a lower perspective, like your lower chakras, you could call it, or dantians, they're connected more to the earth bodies. As we go up each of these, which aren't just in the body, they're all around the field of the body too, they connect to much greater star systems or frequencies, or but when they're all in alignment together, there is a crystallization of consciousness. And this is just my experience that takes place where I'm no longer Seth thinking I'm some person having a temporary experience. I've shifted my awareness into this living geometric field that is animating my entire being in such a highly coherent and organized way through all the systems in and around my body. And I can get into these states and I can sustain them for little bits of time. I haven't got to the point where I can sustain them indefinitely because I'm working through it. But the idea of Christ consciousness or the crystallization of consciousness relates so much to the integrity and structure of water as it crystallizes.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thought here is like, if an individual is taking it upon themselves to rise above the conditions of their own conditioning, then they begin to just naturally become aware of these crystallized states of awareness that are innate, really, in all of us when we get out of our own way. And I would imagine that the body is physiologically and biologically creating conditions to support, because when you do this, you become aware of much higher frequencies. And so the physiology has to be able to respond to that, meaning the water systems of the body have been able to purify and structure or crystallize in a way that represents that expanded awareness embodied in us. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah. Oh, I can't even actually even see you, Seth. I just see this little.
Did I disappear? Did I do it?
Yeah, it's gone for a little. But I've been listening to everything you've said, and I'm kind of like tracking back to something you said. You were when you started on this kind of, and then there were some distractions that happened. But one of the things you said was, why would we focus within when we're so focused outside? And I think one of the important things to become more aware of, again, and this is just the reality truth of the fact that everything that we experience is actually experienced within us. So even when we touch something, we feel that vibration through us. When we look at something, we're looking at it through this lens, which is experienced actually through the eyes.
The lens of the eye, you mean, you're saying?
Yeah. And so, and then even everything we hear within the eardrum. Everything is actually felt. Everything we feel is felt within us. And yes, we have this kind of liquid crystal antenna. We are like liquid antennas, picking up information, tuning into what frequency we want to. When we become more aware, we can actually tune that frequency rather than just having all of this white noise all the time. And a lot of people must feel like that because there's so much information that is being absorbed within us, which is why it's so nice to go out into nature and actually let nature heal that, because the natural sounds and being able to actually have your feet on the earth and being in a quiet space, which is actually out in nature. There's all kinds of noises, but they're natural. We're not just staring at a computer screen. We're not just listening about what's the state of the world is and all of these kinds of things. Sometimes we just going out into nature just for this little bit of time is so nurturing to us, because we are natural beings. We are. Think about the water. Think about the fact that if, every time you're going out, you're like a stream entering into anywhere you go. And so it's like you're this little blessing everywhere you go. You're like adding this beautiful little stream somewhere. And that's kind of like what we are. And so when I think about Christ consciousness or consciousness or a higher vibrational state or all of these different words that we tend to use, I think of myself in many ways like a kind of fluid song. And so we get to figure out what that song is, and all of the different tones and the different energies and the different octaves and the different orchestra we might have that goes towards that song. And so it's fluid because, when you think of sound, it moves so fast through water. And so
you're speaking Nina's language now. Sorry, not to interrupt, but I
know. She really is.
Yeah.
And so when I think about this aspect of us, we are this incredible and, vibratory liquid song that is moving through this planet and actually traveling through it. Even though we think we're in this one space, the fact that we actually sweat and that we cry and that we urinate and there is a flow. It means that energy of ours is also imprinting everywhere we go. Every place we go, every sound we make, we're making this impact. And so becoming aware of like what do I want to sound like? What do I want to feel like? What do I want somebody else to feel from me? And it is this mindfulness of being so true to yourself, because there's a sweetness in everybody, no matter how angry and hurt some people might have been. There is so much pain so many people have been through. And yet, to be able to get up every day and smile, it's so hard for so many people out there. But actually, it takes so much energy just to get up and just go, okay, I'm so grateful for. And I love this thing I read where it's like people always have this to-do list. I need to do the shopping, I need to do. It's like, rather than have that, have a to-be list. I'd like to be this. Today I'm going to be happy, or I'm going to be kind, or I'm going to be this. And I feel like that's such a beautiful kind of space to think. We put so much pressure on ourselves so often, but I think, it kind of does come to being kind. It's not so hard to do. I think if we all were like, as adults, if we look at the little us and the things we say to ourselves now, and there's so many people that say, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. Even people that are having some trouble, like doing some of the crystallography with that I teach, they go, oh no, the water doesn't like me. No, it's not true. It's not true at all. There's no wrong, there's no right. But I think that it's like, if we listen to some of the self-talk, and then you see and you get a picture of yourself when you were like 4, this cute little boy or girl, and then could you say all the stuff you think to that little child? It's very unlikely. And so there's so much that we think and say about ourselves now as adults that has come from external conditioning, and that actually bringing a sweetness in and just a kindness. It's such a simple little thing. Sometimes it's just like, what can I do? And it's like, well, you're probably doing it. I find most people in the world are kind. People always say to me, you've got New Zealand goggles on. But actually, I've been around the world. I've been to lots and lots of countries, and I've just found beautiful people everywhere. Even if we can't even speak each other's language, there's a language of love. There's a language in a smile. There's a language in kindness, and the water within us understands each other.
Nina, what do you have to say about? I know it's.
Where do I start? I mean, okay.
Well, so why I said that, because Christ.
So many times, I don't know where to go back to.
So do this. How about this? Christ consciousness. Like, as I was saying, you know so much about this, and you know it in a way that is so beautiful and so articulate to your understanding. That's helped so many people. So I just tied it into water. That's all I did. But however you want to give voice to that.
Okay. Well, I feel like Christ consciousness is a station that you can listen to. And it truly does have to do with your own antenna that we all have, whether we realize it or not. Are you tuning into the voice of separation and death? Or are you tuning into the voice of love and oneness? And just like with the water, whatever you speak over yourself, I am. We all have heard this, but I'm just going to say it again. I am are two of the most powerful words that you can say. And what comes after it is like you casting magic. And you can
Mm.
either cast what I would call black magic over yourself when you say things about yourself that are hurtful, mean, of separation, or you can say things of white magic or Christed magic or love magic, whatever galactic magic.
Mm.
I am love. I am abundance. We don't even have to be abundant. We are abundance because we are part of the abundance that created us.
Mm.
The source of light that has created all is the most abundant thing ever. If you don't believe that, well, look around the world and see how much is created here, because whether you like what's created or not, it's a huge abundance.
Mm. Oh my God.
We certainly have an abundance of water. We have an abundance of stars. So the more that we learn to tune into and become sovereign with our own frequency and vibration. And Veda, when you were speaking about your song, that was so resonating with me, because that is, I call that our heart song. And we all have a heart song. And when all of our heart songs are in tune, it's amazing, because we actually activate each other's colors and Christed codes and galactic codes as these seeds of light, these star seeds are activated within each one of us. We also inspire and activate each other. And through the activation of two becoming one, for example, or three, or groups, there's an entirely new birth of creation and an entirely new orchestra that is created. And so I feel like what we're seeing at this time, depending on where we're looking, is either we're seeing where the heart song of many together is coherent. Seth, I love that you use this word all the time. We're experiencing coherence together, synchronicity, inspiration. We're finding others who are on the same wavelength, because as we're swimming in the water on the waves, we're next to each other. We're in the same, like, bubbles.
Yeah.
Or we're able to see where others are choosing some rougher waters. And that would be coming in the form of fear. Perhaps they're choosing to give their power over to a Jabberwocky. If you guys understand what I'm saying, I'm being careful with the coding that I'm saying. The big V, I think we all know what that is.
Yes.
We have a choice right now, and we can either choose to put our trust and our faith in the source of energy that has given us life, is constantly breathing life into us and into everything, or we can put our faith into something that ultimately is trying to be an imitation of that. And it's really just each individual has a choice. But I also feel like no matter the choice we're making, all of those things have a song, right? So that big V, that has a song. And when I tune into that song, well, I can tell you, for me, it looks quite metallic. It looks quite silver. It feels quite, well, it honestly feels like death, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so this is how I walk through life, as I look at everything as vibration. This is how I choose what I'm going to eat. This is how I choose between this product or that product. I'm tuning into its essential vibration. Does it resonate and cause my heart to sing, or does it cause my heart to close? And I think this is the most important. This is the most important decision that anyone can make right now, is what makes my heart sing, and follow that, because that is Christ consciousness. That is Christed, crystallized. That is what that is. So that's how I would apply that right now.
Oh my God. just to emphasize a few things you said, because like I know both of you guys, you live what you speak. This isn't theory. This isn't like you both do it. I've witnessed it so many times. And I think the issue that most people in the world face is like they hear this stuff and they're like, okay, it sounds great. I would love to do it, but they don't know how. And you said something very clear, Nina, in that the word I am, right? Like when most people have thoughts, we have like 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, every one of us. And most of those thoughts are not coherent thoughts. They're like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. They're just routine, habituated thoughts that we just are used to thinking all the time, and we've normalized it. We've habituated it. But when you realize, like, okay, I can willingly choose to think clear, coherent thoughts. I am in love with life. I am so grateful that even though I am not fully consciously aware of whatever this energy is that is gifting me the opportunity to be alive, I am grateful for it. I appreciate it. I am in love with that. The more we exercise our ability to speak about the appreciation of life within us in this way, the more we start to reconfigure and bring coherence back into the rest of your body. Because when you start thinking coherent thoughts, you're like, wow, that feels way better. When the brain starts to get really coherent, the heart starts to get coherent. Because if you're thinking, I'm in love with life, then all of a sudden your heart's like, I'm going to create the chemicals, the bioelectric chemicals that turn into frequency that support that thought of I am in love with life. So suddenly your heart is producing the energy required to match that thought. And it's little gestures, little acts of doing this on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis that we do over time that accumulate. They're cumulative and they build up. And then if we do that, almost like water in the sense that water is a gentle, loving, and it's a fluid kind of passive element, yet at the same time, it erodes mountains. So when we are in this like gentle, loving state, but we do it with the consistency of water flowing through mountains, eroding rock, we eventually create this cumulative effect in us where we're thinking coherent thoughts, our heart is, and the rest of our organs all work together to create a coherent state of being. And then all of a sudden, this crystallization of consciousness that we're referencing in different ways, the body and mind start to create the internal environment to match you, the individual who is choosing to think and feel greater than the conditions of your own conditioning that most have accepted as normal. We know that's not normal. We know that, or we know that that is this big of what's normal, and that what is really normal is first, the field that's animating our body, the field and the physicality of this beautiful living garden planet beneath our feet, the coherent field of the living solar system and the living galaxy and the living infinite galaxies and universes that support all of that. The amount of coherent energy that allows everything to exist is so much greater than all the fears, all the suffering, all the wars, all the bloodshed, all the everything that human beings who are not in a coherent state of being have created. That when you look at it, it's almost laughable because you realize, like, okay, if I just do what most haven't done by practicing doing it, getting into coherence, then can't we create something way better than war, than consumeristic mentalities of buy this product, participate in this? But like, right? Like, isn't this essentially like when we purge ourselves and we tune in to what's really available to us, our ability to exercise that creativity is enhanced in ways that none of us really know. But my God, how exciting is it to find out? So, I don't know, just or whatever that's.
You're making my heart sing, Seth.
Yeah.
You're making my heart sing over here. Got my galactic rainbow colors going.
You guys are mine. My gosh.
Thank you for that. Resonates on all levels.
So with that, let's maybe I'll just say one thing, and then we can kind of, you guys can speak as long as you want on those, and then we'll close it out. But what I'll propose is, what can people who are living in this world right now, that, because as we both know, like all of us are in the field of helping people, and the influx of people contacting me every day, all day, who have like, they're like, oh my God, what is happening? Please help me. I don't like, and this is only the beginning. And I think we all kind of sense that we're going into times where people have this almost fragile eggshell like perception of reality that is that's supported by these very limited things around us, aka society, that seems so big and it seems so important. We've all normalized its existence, yet we know that the way it's been functioning and operating is not in alignment with universal or natural law. And so it can only go on for so long like that. We all knew change was coming. We didn't know exactly how it was going to look, but now it's here. And so for all the people who are petrified, they're losing everything. They're losing their lives, they're losing whatever. But what it's really coming down is they're starting to lose their sanity. How can our individual life experiences, in our own unique connection to these elemental forces that have guided us and supported us so much, what can you guys offer to those listening that can help them tap into these things that we've all give different voices to? And
I'll let you
whoever,
first.
go ahead.
Thank you, Veda.
And I'm just here breathing, getting more coherent, and really nothing needs to be said until it feels ready to be.
I feel like a huge part of it is sound and allowing the sounds of how you are suffering in your heart to come out, because even that is beautiful. There's beauty in our breakdown. There truly is. We are experiencing a massive amount of contrast at this time in order to cause us to quantum leap in our imaginations to that which we truly do desire and that which we came here to create, that which we know is real. We're connected to our galactic selves on one level, and we can live from future back, because in the 5D timeline, we're already there. The new Earth is already existing. In fact, we can prove that to ourselves because many of us have those memories. And as children, we came here knowing where we came from and where we were headed. And so this is the in between. But right now, you have the ability to connect to that higher starseed Christed higher self. You've always had it. It's always been with you. You can either focus on what is happening around you and use that to write your story. And in this way, this story might be making you sick. It's like you can continue to eat from the same buffet that you've been eating from that makes you throw up. And just because a lot of people are there eating at that buffet together and they're all throwing up together doesn't mean that you can't walk away from that buffet. And when you decide to write a new story and write a new script and use your beautiful inner child's imagination that is in your heart, and dream it as you want it to be, and live in that, and that becomes your reality, your entire world will begin to shift, because this is just a matrix, all of this, and it responds to your vibration. The law of attraction is 100% real. It's quantum physics. It's science. Einstein was brilliant at sharing this. And Tesla was brilliant at sharing this. And if you want to understand the universe, you need to understand frequency and energy and vibration. And everything that we're talking about today has gone right back to that. And Veda is here saying, you're water. And I have programmed water. I have created a relationship with water. And when I put onto water, hatred, or I'm fat, or I play this scrambled rock music, or I'm sick, it does this. And that's you. It's no different. It's just a mirror of what you are doing to yourself inside. So if you say to yourself and speak over yourself and feel in yourself, I'm beautiful, I am love, I'm blessed, I am abundant, guess what? And yeah, the thing is that if you've been playing a certain tune, a certain song for a long time that makes you feel sick and makes you feel like you want to throw up, great, your soul is rejecting it. Awesome, congratulations. It's time to change the channel. And when you've been looping and looping and looping on a certain channel for so long, you get lazy. And I'm calling everybody out because I call myself out too. Okay? It's time for us to stop being lazy. It's time for us to learn that we have the ability to discipline our own minds. You can watch your mind like waves of the ocean. We're back to water again, coming and going without attaching to those thoughts and those emotions. Just like everybody likes to watch TV, it's really no different. But when you begin to actually co-create with those waves, which is actually heaven consciousness, you have the ability to tap into this inner temple within you, your own, I call it like, it's like the chamber of your heart. You could call it heaven on earth. It's here now. It's your own secret space. And you can paint that in the colors and the frequencies of your dreams and live in it as though it's already happened, because you know what? It already has. That's what I keep trying to tell everybody. It has already happened. Yeah. You just now have to raise your vibration so you can catch up to it. But it's already there. You're already there. Yes. Living it right now. Yes. So the more that we can connect to that future self, and I say live future back. Yes, live in the present, but realize that your present is a reflection of everything that you've thought and felt up until this present moment. And give thanks for it, but dream and expand and live future back. And you guys, I promise you will see your entire world shift. There's so many levels of consciousness playing out right now. I know people that are dying. I know people that are sick. I know people that are going through tremendous breakups. I also know people that are like blissed out every day. These are the best years of their life. I personally can attest to that. It's not because I'm special and I can do something you can't do. It's because I just learned how to discipline my vibration, and I study it every day. I listen to rapid hypnosis videos. I listen to dolphin song. I spend time in nature. I turn off the TV. I pay attention to what makes my heart sing, and I stay away from what doesn't. Protect your vibration. Protect your heart. Guard your heart right now. So that's what I can offer.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you.
So beautiful. I'm just going to share some practical things for me that I found really helpful and simple. And so just from shifting from the pursuit of happiness to the pursuit of purpose, and really discovering what you feel gives you passion. Like, what's your purpose? I think there's the elusiveness of looking for happiness and the expectation that we should find this place where we can experience external happiness. This, by external, I mean that the external world is giving us joy. But in fact, we are like waves, and within the kind of Vedas, they talk about these three modes of emotion, which is sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Sattvic is the mode of the higher vibration. Rajasic is a passionate mode of emotion, which incorporates both the higher vibration and a bit of the negative vibration. And tamasic is more of a negative vibration. And we tend to go through these waves. And there are ways to keep yourself more at a kind of not quite so tight, all these tidal waves, but to keep the waves more subtle. And I feel that actually, for me, it's just finding that purpose. So when you wake up, and the world is all still the same, it's our perception of the world that is the thing that we can change. And that changes the world within us, because there's two worlds, the world we live on and the world we live in. And so the world we live in, you know, we can change our perception in one day and change our way we view the entire world in one day, just by that change of perception. And I feel very strongly that actually, you know, the world we're in right now, it is the world we're living within anyway, is for me personally more around getting up and being in some kind of service, not subservient, but in Hindi it's called sewa. There's a sweetness of being able to give of yourself in some way, some small way, whether that's, for me, it's getting up and sharing pictures of my work, to hope inspire people that there is something so great and so huge within us. There's so much that we can discover, and to get excited and curious and like when I do it, I light up and I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? I have no idea what is going to appear in front of me. And that I love that. And so it's that thing where you just kind of like light up. And there's that part of you that's going, oh, just find that one thing that gives you some passion, and start working on that, because I think that that's a very healthy way of moving forward, rather than this kind of just looking for happiness and this kind of temporary modes of these temporary snippets of happiness that we get, because then it's actually a thing there. You don't have to be happy all the time, that you can be have that purpose in your heart and your mind every day. And you're growing something bigger. You're moving towards something bigger, and something bigger than you. Because when you have purpose, other people want to help you with your purpose, because that's the natural attraction of somebody who with a passion. I've seen that over and over. When you see somebody just standing up and go, this is what I'm doing, I'm so excited about it. There are so many people that want to help them succeed, that want to help or be part of what they're doing, because their energetic vibration is so great. But also to remember that can be something so simple as just going to the shop and smiling at the person that's serving you, and actually going, hey, how's your day? We're so lucky in New Zealand, because we go to the store and half the time it's just chatting about how the kids, blah, 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 but it's like there's a connection. It's like just feeling that connected point with somebody else. And I think, I tend to bring things back to just really simple little things that we can do every day. And so I wake up and I think, hey, what am I grateful for? Before I get on my phone, before I get out of bed. And I'm so grateful to be here, to be able to have this conversation, to be able to share the work that I do, to have beautiful, healthy children, to have clean water to drink, to like be in an environment which is so beautiful inside and outside. And so I feel incredibly grateful, and and I and I think that also that feeling of compassion. We have this ability to have this flurry of all these different emotions, and it's like we don't have to be a slave to our emotions. We can choose what we want to do. You know, I was in this terrible car accident, and actually, although a lot of people probably won't even see this, but I don't usually share it. But anyway, the guy tried to kill me. He basically, we're driving. He turned to me and he said, "If I can't have you, no one can." And he turned the car into the truck. And then if the people that have seen my videos, they'll see how bad it
Unbelievable.
was. And so I remember
He
being
was
in hospital.
decapitated, let's put it that way. And
I
she got
remember,
severe.
yeah, it doesn't matter. But the
Yeah.
point is that I went into hospital and like the nurse was like asking me about it, and I was sharing what happened. And over the course of time, I remember that because she was just such a beautiful woman, and I was sharing what had actually happened because that didn't come out immediately because I didn't want his children to know. And and so there was this really big choice that I had in that moment. So she asked me, do you want me to tell? Do you want me to share this with with his family? And I'm like, I said to her, no, I will. And I actually, I went to his funeral, and I was all busted up after 4 days, only 4 days actually in hospital with a thing in my neck, and like my face is busted, ribs, everything gone, blah, blah. It was really bad. I didn't even know how I walked. I had a lot of help. And I got up and I spoke at his funeral. And he had 2 children. They were quite young then, like about 13 and 10 or so. And I wanted to represent the good part of their dad, because although he'd gone through so much, and although he had definitely got a like serious clinical depression, which is what happened, I wanted them to have something beautiful to remember their dad by, and to know that I wasn't angry and that I wasn't holding on to everything that he'd done. And so I got up and I just spoke some nice words about their dad, and then I went. And then years later, 12, maybe 15 years later, or whatever it was, I was out and at nighttime, and I'd gone out for dinner or something, and this person came running up to me, this woman, and it was his daughter who'd grown up, and she recognized, she gave me a huge hug, and she said, "Thank you so much for what you did at the funeral that day. It changed me." And I had a choice, from the moment all of that happened, as to how I would feel about what actually happened in that car that day. And even though I've had 8 surgeries and all of this, and it's been so long, it took me on this journey with water. It's like been this wonderful weave into the tapestry of my life. And I don't have any animosity for him. I know that he had so much going on. He didn't know how to deal with it, and he had become obsessed, and all these crazy things that can happen. But at the same time, I know I always had a choice of how to respond to this, how to view this, how to see this. And every day I'd be in hospital, and when I'd be in pain and I'd had to have all these surgeries, and there's a part of me that just feels so grateful for the fact that I'm alive. And for every doctor that told me that I could never have children, I had a child for every doctor that told me I couldn't. So don't believe you can't do something, because there's always a chance. Well, for me anyway, I just think with this attitude of gratitude, it can go a really long way. And I just think you have to sometimes in life remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to other people, because you don't know what they've been through.
Oh my God. Look, it's funny because as you're saying that, I could feel maybe some people being like, "Oh, it's easy for them to say they're beautiful and their life is great," but I know what both of you have gone through. I know the intensity of the things that you have survived through, and not just survived through, but been able to rise above. So thank you for saying that, because it just really like, okay, it leveled the playing field, because there's a lot of people who feel like, okay, I live in an inner city. I can't even leave my house. I can't
Yeah.
be with nature. I'm not having fun here. I'm like stuck. They're going just major. What would you say for people like that? I know what I would say, but how do you guys handle that?
I would say that just like monks go and sit in a cave,
Hmm.
I kind of feel like the entire collective has been told to go to their rooms.
Yes.
And if you're still in your room, you have to trust that that's because your time of sort of you're being prepared. And right now I'm gonna get really silly right now, but I love to get really silly. You're like a cake, but you're in the oven. And if you come out too soon, we really are. We're like cakes in the oven, because it's the heat and the pressure, and it's not really comfortable in there. But if you come out too soon, your cake will flop, or it won't rise high enough, and so you could also say a diamond, right? Because the diamond doesn't become the beautiful shiny diamond, without the pressure and without the fire and without the intensity. And that's not fun. That's exactly what we're going through right now. So I feel like the more that people can embrace that, even if you need to write a different story about it. Oh, okay. I'm on a meditation retreat right now. Because if you were in India and you went on a meditation retreat for a year and you went into a cave, this is exactly what you would be doing.
Except for it would be even less comfortable, probably, because people still
It,
have the comfort of their homes.
this is funny, because as I'm sitting here, I'm going, well, yeah, you still have the comfort of your home. You can still go to the grocery store. In some places, you can still go to the gym. We have the ability to communicate with each other, but you really have a choice right now. And if you spend like meditation in darkness and in silence, often what people say is they're surprised that in the beginning, there's a bit of a horror show that starts to play out, because they can't escape their mind anymore. And so I truly feel like this is the reflection of what's happening on the news networks and the TV and the fear propaganda from every single angle. You have a choice right now to pay attention to it and let that dictate your experience each and every moment, but especially right now. Or you can just turn it off, and you can turn inside and connect to the source that has given you life, that wants you here, or you wouldn't be here. You have a purpose for being here, or you wouldn't be here right now. And you can let go and you can surrender. You can surrender
Yes. Yeah.
and just stop fighting what is obviously meant to be happening for you. If you were not meant to be in a lockdown, you would not be. I have gone through tremendous things in life. I went through almost like a 2-year lockdown because I was living in another country. No, I didn't have to be in lockdown, but it was just the situation that I was in. In that same country, I went through 2 near-death experiences. All of that. I was almost sold into sex slavery in India. These are just sprinklings through my journey. All of that, every single experience, all of that just brought me closer to the Creator. All of that just got me closer and closer and closer until the last 2 near-death experiences. I knew, because it was spoken in my being, that something greater than me that I've been in love with my entire life and I'm still in love with was beating my heart. And that I knew suddenly, and I saw that so many times, for the time I was a little girl, I would not be alive unless that source was choosing to keep me here. And suddenly I had no fear because I went, oh my gosh, I'm a cat with 1 billion lives. That is what has kept me alive. When I was doing the dumbest things, that is what was keeping me alive. But that's how we learn and that's how we grow. And I truly feel like that God, creator, source, whatever word you're comfortable with, has an amazing plan right now, but has sent the collective to their rooms because it's like, I want to spend time with you. I want you to get to know me. And so if you won't focus on me, I'm going to force you to have to focus on me. And it's usually that when you encounter insanity in yourself, that's when you get to the other side. So if you have to go through and your insanity has to come up, I can guarantee you, Seth and Veda and I, we've all encountered our insanity. I can guarantee that. I know that we have. Those are initiations. It's part of the awakening. So that's what I feel like. You just have a choice every single moment. And if you embrace this time of being in lockdown could actually be one of the greatest blessings of your life. Because when you get to the other side of that, wow.
Freedom, real freedom.
Real freedom.
Instead of living under the illusion of freedom that most people are hoping things are going to return back to, which isn't in harmony with the planet. Okay, that's the thing. Like, oh, we're going to go back to the way things were. You mean the way things were when we were buying all this useless crap that's being mined from the planet, destroyed? No. There's a new reality coming. And to the degree that you said that we just ease into it. I mean, you can't control the external environment. Only thing you really can control is the way you react to it. You know, what I do is when I feel all these intense, now I don't. Now I mostly just laugh and smile and sing and like I just have a great time because I'm like, I've finally got to the point where I'm like, this is so brief. Why would I not just give it all I've got, you know? Through severe drug addiction, through being in prison for 3 years, on and on and on. Like, here I am at this place. I never thought I would even live this long. And I feel better than I ever have. I'm thinking more clearly. I'm feeling infinity pulsing through me. And all I really did was just relax into the things that I was feeling resistance to. I wasn't running and hiding from them. I wasn't trying to just feel them and make them into more of a presence than they needed to be. I just observed them. I allowed them to be what they are, and I just kept relaxing deeper and deeper into them. Suddenly they didn't have that grip over me. And the part of my body that was holding the memory that a lot of the stuff that we're projecting our fears into now aren't really even about what's happening now. It's just the old stored memory of things that happened in the past that's still stuck in the body. So for my thing is just relaxing into it. And yeah, guess what? I spent 3 years sitting in a prison cell, as you guys know. I was so blessed to have an opportunity I couldn't escape my mind. Couldn't escape it. And I just kept doing it. I kept relaxing into, I'm like, oh, this thing is going over and over, and oh, this and my anxiety, and I'm going, and then I just kept relaxing into it deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it liberated that energy. It let go of its hold on me. And things still come up, but I've applied that same methodology to everything that comes up, and it works so good that it's really just a matter of, am I doing that or not?
I like the saying that just says, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, and so I don't know, I feel very much in the moment at this point, right now, anyway, that I keep saying this, but this is obviously my truth right now, is just keep being kind to yourself. I mean, we all at some point feel like we're trapped into something. Some point, the biggest trap we have half the time is what our mind is doing.
Yeah.
Even when I observe it myself. Like, I'm in this slice of paradise where I live right now. It's like the beach is there, the water is there, everything is gorgeous. I have healthy children, I'm healthy, all these good things. New Zealand, we don't even have to wear a mask, there's no COVID, everything's great as far as that stuff goes.
Wow.
However, you take all of that, and then you still see this kind of thing where your mind is just there to protect you. It's in its kind of primal state. It's always looking for a problem.
Mm.
And so unless you're in a more of a heart space where you're constantly going, what's my like, am I working towards my purpose? When you're doing that, you're excited and things are feeling good and you're in a higher energetic. But your mind, even when you're calm and everything's good, your mind's still looking for problems. And so
Isn't that
whether
it?
whether you're in like this gorgeous place, or whether you're, in in a tiny little space and you feel really trapped and you feel all of these things, you have the choice of actually thinking, am I grateful for the fact that I'm here and I'm alive? What can I do? What can I do? And there's so much we can do. We can draw, we can write, we can speak, we can sing. There was a time when I was little where they thought that I would actually be blind for the rest of my life. So I started learning Braille. And so I actually was preparing to experience the world with no vision as a little girl. And so what I realized, because I had these things on my eyes after some surgery, is that I started to realize I could see without seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all these new experience we can actually have, even when we are locked into a room. And some people pay to get locked, like into a and like do Vipassana and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, there's someone in the world right now who would love to be in your situation, who would do anything to be in your situation, because they might not be able to use their legs. They might be in a war-torn country. They might be not knowing whether they're going to live or die. There's all kinds of stuff. And so we just using these little thoughts and feelings, and just like, for me, just working towards my purpose, that kind of just keeps me pushing forward, moving forward towards source. And every day, that in water is that's its nature anyways, to go towards source. So let's try to keep as many of our mind rocks out of its way so it can get there more directly. But it's going there anyway, one way or another.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. I'm so glad we did this, and I'm so glad that we were able to share in all these different ways and make all these connections, and then help bring this out for people who are facing the very things that we're giving voice to. So I know between all three of us, we've created a lot of different options for applying what we've learned through in our own ways, and I'm sure people are going to be really grateful for that. I know they are. I see a bunch of comments and people saying stuff. So give some links where everybody can find you. And again, these two women are two of my closest friends in the world. And I just want to say this again to everybody here so they know. I encounter a lot of people all the time, and I've known both of them for a few years now. And they both consistently display the level of integrity that is uncompromising when it comes to living in accordance with their mission in life and fulfilling it. And that has had a great impact on me. Both of these two beings have had a tremendous impact in helping me create the kind of resolve that I know I've needed if I'm going to truly become what I know I was born to be, but wanted to feel the support of others validating that, is it worth me being what I can be? Because if I go off and hide in a cave, I can be totally at peace. But to go out in the world, to share this with people who have prioritized all these things that aren't really valuable when it comes to the soul that is infinite and that we truly are, instead of this short momentary thing. You guys have affirmed that in me. And I think us being able to come together and bring our own unique experiences and perceptions of reality and then weave them into this tapestry of this conversation that we're having together is going to help a lot of people. So I just want to say that about them. So links. Tell everybody where we can find you guys. Nina, you go first because you're on this side, and then Veda, you can go.
Okay. I just wanted to leave everyone with the word of trust. Trust. Trust what is happening. Trust all of it. It is actually for the great awakening of humanity. And it's just a whole lot of light that is illuminating darkness that many of us didn't realize what was hiding in the dark. But if we can embrace the experience, it's not so scary. Light is meant to illuminate the darkness inside and outside. And it's absolutely stunningly gorgeous, beautiful experience if you can embrace it. Let go of the fear of death, because we don't ever die. We just transform. We're just energy. Energy is not able to die. Forget that you're this flesh. You are energy. You are just energy changing forms. And so you can find me. Actually, my website is www.ninastarsong.com. And my email is ninastarsong@yahoo.com. If you would like to book a session with me, I do theta healing, galactic channelings, readings. I've been doing this for many, many years. My new thing is doing Magdalene Rose Ray Christ activations, since the Magdalene rays are coming in very potently right now as we return to the cosmic rose loom. And I have a Telegram channel.
And I'll put all the links. I'll add the links to this too, just so they're there for everybody.
Oh, great. Okay, because I don't remember what that is right now.
Yeah.
And I hear it's hard for people to find things on Telegram. I'm one of many that got banned from social media as far as the Facebook and the Instagram.
Everything.
But I have a YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, you do have a YouTube, so okay.
I have a YouTube, ninastarsong.com. I'm on the Divine Feminine Roundtable. You may know me from there with all of those gorgeous, beautiful ladies. And I also am involved with the Healy, which is an amazing EMF device, production device, and frequency tool. And I know Seth is too. So you can contact either of us about that.
Contact you. You know way more about it. I've been using it.
Okay, you can contact me about that. And I actually just went to a convention in Florida and learned so much more about it. And it's amazing. It's Tesla technology. It's absolutely galactic technology. So yeah, lots of beautiful things going on. And I'm doing a galactic class. I'm like, wow, all these things. What am I doing? I'm starting a galactic class May 16th. There's still open space for that. So if you're interested in that, it's actually being offered at a very low, affordable rate. So it's going to be 4 classes, 60 minutes each, and it's only $111. I did that so that more people could have access to me and I can have access to more people. We're going to go galactically deep together. I'm so excited for
He
it.
does. It's unbelievable. Like, people are hearing these words, but when you start to feel who you think you are dissolve into what it is she's suggesting, then you're like, okay. It's a whole different experience.
Thank you, Seth. So, yeah. And I also have a SoundCloud with it's free. It's an album that everybody can listen to. And it's music that I produced when I was living in Kauai. It's Starseed Galactic music for the New Earth and the Ascension, which I created at that time. And here we are. So as you listen to it, it actually activates all your cells, your DNA codes. I program theta into it and lots of gems. So yeah, use all the gems out there. And I love everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Veda and Seth. And I'm just sending big heart song out there and kisses from my heart to everyone's heart.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Mine's pretty simple. Just my website's just my name, VedaAustin.com, and everything is on there. And my book is available. You can click the link through there, or it's just Google The Secret Intelligence of Water by Veda Austin. And that's been doing great. My book's been doing so well, and I'm so grateful for everybody's support. And my goal, I've got this big goal to sell 1 million books in 3 years. That would be my goal. And so far we've been doing it's been just so wonderful and quite humbling, really, the response that I've had so far. It's been amazing.
It's revolutionary.
And
it's one of the most revolutionary, like, luminary. People who don't know what it is, gotta check it out, because there's nothing like it. The mind tries to understand it, but you can't, and it causes this, like, I'm trying to understand what's happening, I'm trying to understand, and I can't. All of a sudden you break through and you're like, oh, okay. So,
well, each piece is also like a work of art. So if people have a hard time because really when you look at how sophisticated water designs, it can only really, after well over 10,000 photos of water doing this, that's real evidence that it's not a coincidence. And so if it's not a coincidence and water really is responsive and communicative, does that mean there is a type of intelligence? And that would then create this new paradigm that a lot of people just are not prepared to, they're not quite ready for. So
including a lot of scientists.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing is that I'm just presenting the work. It's up to science now to figure out how it's happening. And so when I go into that place, it's like, then if that doesn't resonate, then see the work of art that water has designed and just be in awe of that, because that is so incredible that ice can, like, I did this test where Jerry Pollack suggested that I do a survey. Seth, you helped me with this. And I had something like 25 images, and I had people that weren't like, because back then I hardly knew anything about social media, and I got some people to send the survey out through social media where they didn't even know it was me, and they didn't know what they were looking at. They didn't know it was water or ice or anything. And the question simply was, what does this look like? And I had something in the range of like 80 people, 80% of the people, and there were nearly 300 people that actually went ahead and were able to recognize the images for what they actually were in relation to how the water responded. So it's a very, and then that's image recognition. And so that's pretty hard to get your head around. And so, but when you look at it as art, then you can appreciate it as art. And that's the kind of place where I feel very rich. I worked as an artist for 15 years professionally. So that works. But I've gone off on a tangent. So I would say you can totally find my book and all about my work and stuff on my website.
Oh, and VedaAustin.com. So Thank you, both of you, so much. I feel so grateful. This is such an amazing thing to share public space with both of you at the same time. And I feel like we covered some really beautiful things. We connected in a really beautiful way. And I'm sure the audience and the people listening were able to feel that and connect to that in their own way. So let the heart fields, the coherent heart and mind fields that we are creating together ripple out into the field of others who are witnessing this and paying attention to it. Because you know what? Like your friend Veda, Rupert Sheldrake, one of the most brilliant scientists of our time, has proven with morphogenic fields, it's a real thing. The 100th monkey effect is a real thing. When you have a group of people, not very big, thinking something, like Nina said, that quantum, that law of attraction is real, because when you have a group of people thinking something, no matter what it is, they're sending it out into the field, and then others are just picking up on it like it's intuitive information. And when enough of us align our hearts and minds, we start singing a similar song, and enough of us start doing that, we are going to bring a frequency that is so much greater than the fear that most people are addicted to in regards to all of these pathetic but very teaching, life teaching narratives that everybody's addicted to. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, all of us listening to this. And it's not
We
new
are.
age. It's not some like weird woo thing. It all comes back to, no matter what you believe or think about, there's something in all of us that none of us can describe. It's greater than all of us, yet we have the ability to elevate our consciousness to the greatness of whatever that is, and then be inspired by it in this form. So I know what I'm choosing to be inspired by. I know what you guys are choosing to be inspired by. Come on, you guys out there, everybody listening, let's get with it. This is it. But it's okay if you don't, because karma's been unfolding forever anyway. So don't even worry, it's perfect. Ended on a high note. So thank you. And we'll see you guys soon. And I'll put all the links to everything below this.
Thank you, Seth.
I love you guys so much.
Love you.
Yeah, love you. Abundant blessings to all.
Yeah. All right. Till next time.